We start with the intent. Because if you don't know what you want to show, learn, or explore, you cannot create a very meaningful model. Have you heard of the infinite monkey theorem? The idea that if you give an infinite number of monkeys an infinite number of typewriters, that they will effectively be able to create the entire works of Shakespeare. I think in the same way, only an infinite number of monkeys with an infinite number of Sharpies and paper will be able to create a well-suited model without a clearly stated intent. If you don't know where you want to go, you're not going to get there. So an example of an intent could be summarize how different users fulfill their needs using our software, right? That's pretty vague, but that's okay. And an intent doesn't need to be terribly specific. It can be broad, it can be narrow, depending on, again, what your needs are, what you're trying to get out of it. It just needs to be stated. And you can go back and you can refine it. I often find myself starting and then kind of circling back and refining my intent as I further understand what it is I'm actually trying to do. A lot of times in dealing with complexity, you start from the outside and you're looking at it and you have a sense of what needs to be done. But then once you start exploring it and shining a light around the dark room, if you will, start to realize, oh, what it looked like from the outside isn't what's actually happening. I actually need to do B instead of A. But starting and stating an intent helps you stay the course. Second, we need to consider the audience, because we can make models for anyone. We can make models for ourselves. We can make models for a very specific individual or specific group. We can make models for mass consumption. But who we're making a model for affects how we make that model most effective. And so again, like the intent, we need to understand up front, who is going to receive this? Is it just for me? There's a lot of stuff I don't have to do if I'm the only one who has to understand this. But if this is going to get posted up on the internet or nailed to the wall outside of offices that have people in them, you don't have control over who's going to see it. You don't get to shepherd people through this model. It needs to be able to stand on its own, which requires a whole lot more work, right? If a model makes sense to you, it's likely going to make sense to others who have the same amount of context to you. And so I think about the audience on this spectrum of they either have a little context or they have a lot of context. And so, this doesn't have to be laser precise, but in general, where are they? Do they have the same amount of context to you? Do they have very little context? It's going to require a lot more effort in framing in order to be clear about what it is that you're trying to convey if somebody doesn't have very much context. So establishing that audience up front helps me know what I'm getting into. And with this model program, I keep talking about, helps me stay on track or helps sell things, but it also helps collaboration. If I have to work with somebody else to make a model, I have a sense in my head of what it needs to be, and they probably have a different sense in their head of what it needs to be. But by getting this stuff out, okay, this is going to help us summarize different user needs, and it's going to be for these other people. Oh, I thought it was just going to be for our group. No, it's going to be for those people, and so it changes, and it's a tool for alignment as well.